We are going to start reading our rewrites, which is always fun. I always want to give you an opportunity to hear it. Then I turned Lauren off. She's still singing. All right, there we go. All right. Jonathan, I'm going to just go start at the back and just move to the front, okay? You all get an opportunity, don't worry. Nice and loud and proud.
We passed the closet that led to my brother's socks.
Your brother's socks. Very nice. Hope they were clean. All right. Going to go this way, Cole, and then we're just going to kind of wrap around. He runs and jogs up to the front.
We passed the cage that the bunny was inside.
Wow, why don't you read that again? That was like a loud clank. Sounds like a piece of iron.
We passed the cage that had the bunny inside.
Very nice. Was it marshmallow?
Yes.
Nice. Christian.
Mrs. Reed passed the chocolate store or factory and forgot to buy chocolate.
Oh, that's a tragic scenario. I don't know if I could do that, Christian, if I could pass and then forget. That would be very unlikely. Never know. Toby.
We went to the police
Okay,
office.
wait, stop. And then,
We went to the police office to reason with them.
went to the police office to what?
To reason with them.
Oh, all right.
To what? Reason. I can't hear her.
You have to talk very loud. I just didn't know if it was just me. So,
We went to the police office to reason with them.
to reason with them. So, friends, when we are wearing these masks, it's very important to talk loud, clearly, because it's really hard. This would be a loud voice. I don't have to work hard at it, but some of you have to, because it's very hard to hear, especially our friends in the back. All right? So we're going to go, okay, nobody else? Jeremiah. I'll get to the front. No worries. Everyone gets a chance.
We ran the off-road trail that led towards the farm.
The farm. Very nice.
Is it my cousin's farm?
What's that?
Is it my cousin's farm?
I don't know. Is it Jeremiah? Is it M's cousin's farm?
I have a different farm.
A different farm in mind. Excellent. Put it down and stop making. Don't roll your eyes. All right. Olivia.
We went to the shortcut to get ice cream.
Ooh, yum.
Is it chocolate?
Oh,
Chocolate's disgusting.
oh,
It's gross.
be still my heart.
It's mint chocolate.
Oh.
Mint chocolate is really good.
Well, everyone has a right to their own flavor. All right, friends. Helen.
We accidentally passed the cutoff that went back to the horse barn.
Very nice. Winchine.
I passed the cat that was in my room.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know why.
You don't know why. What is your cat's name again, Winchine?
Sparkle?
Let's see. Okay, M. And then we'll do M.
I went to the into the shortcut that
Very nice. Emma, then I'll teach you. Oh, you don't want to read? Emmy.
We passed the long path that led back to the farm.
Did you all hear that?
No, not really.
Say it. Come on up, back up, and read it louder. Loud and proud.
We passed the long path that led back to the farm.
I heard it a little bit better that time.
We passed the. Yeah,
I still can't hear.
I passed the. We passed the something that will lead us back to the farm or something.
Here. Let Mrs. Reed with her loud voice read it. She read, or she wrote, we passed the long path that led back to the barn. There we go. Loud and proud. All right, very good. Anyone else want to do their sentence? I was noticing, do not forget about the comic books. A lot of names are written down.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
So make sure that you are reading that when you have an opportunity. Not right now. So who is the last name on that? Are we waiting for that person to be done or what?
That is the last one.
Did you finish? No.
I don't remember who I'm
So who is the next person that's reading it? Okay, so if you finish, it's very important to put a check, because otherwise no one's going to have an opportunity.
I don't see my name.
So who's next?
Yeah.
He's not here, so who's after Jack? All right, so Gabe, you are next. Just circle Jack, because he's not here. Let's circle his name, and then we'll go back to him. So keep in mind when you have time to look at those, okay? So everyone gets an opportunity because there's a long list. All right, I am going to read Ulysses a little bit. While I'm reading, this would be a great opportunity for you to finish your cards. And if you have finished them, then you don't have nothing to worry about. There it is. I'm like, what did I do with Flora and Ulysses?
What did you do with Ulysses?
Where did they go?
They went on an adventure.
They went on an adventure. All right, so we are on chapter 49. Oh. It says, good news, Florabelle. Ooh, it's nice to have some good news for a change. So, friends, if you already did a card, we're not doing another one.
I'm doing something else.
Let's put the paper down. I only give permission if you're doing the card. Okay. Flora's mother and father entered the kitchen together. Her mother had a cigarette in her mouth. Her mother was smoking. Her father had his arm around his mother's shoulder. This was almost as alarming as seeing her mother smoke. Her mother and father never touched anymore. Good news, Florabelle, said her father. Really? Said Flora. She never believed it when someone had said there was good news. In her experience, when there was good news, people just said what the good news was. If there was bad news, that they wanted you to believe was good news. Then they said, good news. And if there was really bad news, they said, good news, Florabelle. Your mother thinks that it would be wonderful to have the squirrel stay here. Whoa, said her father. What? Said Flora. Here? With her? And where am I supposed to stay? Here, said her father, with your mother. You, your mother, and the squirrel. That's what your mother would like. Flora looked at her mother. Mom, she said. I would be honored, said her mother. She took a long drag on her cigarette. Her hand was trembling. Why are you smoking? Said Flora. I thought you stopped smoking. It seemed like the wrong time to stop, said her mother. She squinted. I'm under a lot of pressure right now. Speaking of which, I see that the squirrel is typing on my typewriter, where I write. He writes poetry, said William. not fiction. Let's just have a look-see, said Flora's mother. She walked over to the typewriter and stood looking down at Ulysses and at the words on the page. Let's see what kind of poetry a squirrel types. Her voice sounded funny, still, tinny and far away. And if she were speaking from the bottom of a dark well, actually what she sounded like was a robot, someone pretending to be human and doing a lousy job of it. Flora felt a little flicker of fear. Let me just light another cigarette here, said her mother in her robot voice. She lit a new cigarette from the tip of the last one, which of course, chain smoking and dangerous behavior at the best of times. And this obviously was not the best of times. Her mother inhaled deeply on the cigarette. She exhaled and she said, "Shall I read the squirrel's poetry out loud?" Well, here we go. Are y'all ready for Ulysses' poem?
Yes.
Here is a picture of the mother reading the poem. I'm just going to walk around smoking. Icky. Don't never start it. It's a terrible, terrible habit. So unhealthy.
I don't like the smell of it.
Look.
Yeah. I'm not smoking.
Good. So bad.
Smoking? The smoke is weird. Well, you know why I'm taking this out and taking pictures? Because I just had
All right. Here we go. This is what, interesting. This is what Ulysses typed. It says chapter 50, an incomplete list. Actually, it wasn't poetry, not yet. So far, it was just a list of words that he wanted to turn into a poem. The first word on the list was jelly. Jelly was followed by giant donut, which was in turn followed by sprinkle. The list continued on with these words. Rita, sunny side up. Pascal, giant squid. Little shepherdess, vanquished. Capacious, quark. Universe, blundersmear, banish. That's right, quark is something from space. The list ended with the words of Dr. Meacham's goodbye. I promise to always turn back toward you. That's impressive that he typed all of that. The words were good words, Ulysses felt, maybe even great words, but the list was very incomplete. He was just getting started. The words needed to be arranged, fussed with, put in the order of his heart. All of this is to say that when Flora's mother read the list out loud, it didn't sound terribly impressive. Gosh, that's some swell poetry, said George Buckman. Not really, said William. There's no point in lying to him, even if he is a squirrel. It's actually pretty lousy poetry, but I do like the last part, the part about turning back. That has some emotional heft to it. Well, I think it's just great, said Flora's mother, and I'm glad to welcome another writer into the family. She patted Ulysses on the head, too forcefully, he felt. The pat approached violence. You're going to be one happy little family, said Flora's mother. She gave Ulysses another whack, disguised as a pat. Really, said Flora. Oh, yes, said Flora's mother. There was a knock on the back door. Yoo-hoo, someone called out. Tootie, thought Ulysses. Tootie, said Flora. Mrs. Tickham, said Flora's mother, do come in. We were just reading some words that the squirrel typed. Ha ha, we were reading some squirrel poetry. William, said Tootie, I have been calling and calling you. I didn't hear you. Well, I must admit that I wasn't calling very loudly, said Tootie. What did Ulysses type? Flora's mother read the list of words again. Tootie put her hand over her heart and said, oh, those last lines are beautiful. Heartbreaking. Those last lines are the only bit of coherence in the whole thing, said William. I've been inspired by Ulysses to write a little poetry of my own, said Tootie. Ulysses felt himself puff up. He had inspired Tootie. He turned and sniffed his tail. I'd like to read your poetry, Tootie, said Flora. Well, we should have a poetry reading at some time. I'm sure Ulysses would enjoy that. The squirrel nodded. Yes, yes, he would enjoy that. He would also enjoy a bite to eat. What does that sound like? He's hungry. Dr. Meacham's jelly sandwiches had been wonderful, but that was a long time ago. He would like to eat, and he would like for Tootie to read poetry to him. And he would like to work on his own poetry. Also, he would like for Flora's mother to quit pounding him on the head, which she was doing again now. William, said Tootie, your mother called for you. Did she? Said William. His voice was squeaky with hope. Really? Did she ask me to come home? Unfortunately not, said Tootie, but it's dinner time. Come home with me and eat something. Home, thought Ulysses. That's a good word, and dinner is a good word too. He turned back to the typewriter. He searched for the H. All right, that is where we're going to leave off.